My name is Raymond Regis Bernier. I began my career at the Naval Academy at that time it was 3 years of college, and the completion of the touring academy. Then I was commissioned a naval officer, and my first tour was as an ensign, which is the lowest rank in the Navy, on the USS Kennedy, on a destroyer escort, relatively small Navy ship. This is a picture of me taken on board the carrier, the USS Essex, in the Gulf of Mexico. My next 2 years with this squadron turned out to be the most exciting part of our flying career. On April 1951, we deployed to Okinawa, where the squadron conducted reconnaissance flights in the former straits and along the China coast in the East China Sea. We flew the P2V2s and 3s. It was a time during the Korean conflict when there was a threat to a communist China invasion of Taiwan. We photographed all shipping in the strait and along the coast for the air intelligence evaluation. It was on such a flight, May 14, 1951, when we dropped down below the clouds to conduct a photo recon on a ship which turned out to be a communist gunboat. It opened up fire on and punched out several holes in our gunboat. We immediately climbed back into the clouds. Fortunately, there was no fire and no major damage. We completed the patrol and returned home. The bullets had pierced the left engine nacelle, puncturing the ADI alcohol water mixture, which mixes with gasoline, and on takeoffs. In addition to the flying, I was assigned as an air intelligence briefing officer. We briefed the crews on the area to be patrolled, radar procedures, electronic air surveillance, emergency procedures, and escape and evasion information. At the completion of each mission, we briefed the crew and sent the patrol report. We completed the deployment in August of '51, returned to Whidbey Island for vacation and training in the new P2V5 aircraft. In April of '52, the squadron deployed to Atsugi, Japan, to fly anti-submarine warfare flights to support the Navy task force operating near the bomb lining off Korea, Russia, and the Sea of Japan. The ASW flights from Atsugi to or across Japan near Mount Fuji and on to the coast of Korea. They were 12-hour flights on a quiet diet. Watch takeoff was always entertaining. The planes carried a full load of high-octane gas and a bomb load, mines or torpedoes, depending on the mission. On a hot summer day, the planes would literally stagger off the end of the runway. You could tell when a pilot was getting anxious as he approached the end of the runway. On occasion, the pilot would roll the nose of the aircraft up a little too high, causing the skid on the tail of the plane to drag the end of the runway, which in turn would create a stream of sparks. Fortunately, the plane always became airborne. The reconnaissance patrols on the Sea of Japan were mostly daytime flights and quite scenic. Flying in Japan is very interesting, as many volcanic mountains were active. At that time, we were very cautious when flying around the Russian coast, as the year before they had shot down one of the patrol planes that had flown too close to the coast. We knew from our electronic surveillance equipment that Russians were tracking us on radar as we flew up and down the coast near Vladivostok. At the completion of the deployment, the squadron made a normal trans-Pacific flight back to the U.S. on a routine maintenance check. At Barbara's Point, they found metal particles in the engine oil strainage, which meant an engine change. This was bad news because it delayed our return to our families. As a crew member of a P2V, it was normal procedure to rotate positions and duties while a flight from pilot to co-pilot to navigator. On a transoceanic flight, navigating was always a challenge. I still remember the first flight from Whitby to Adak, a 14.5 hour flight, daylight flight. We navigated using a combination of radar, LORAN, which is long-range radio navigation, celestial sun lines, and radio beacons. We were only 10 miles off track on making landfall from where we flew. Along the Kuriles, which are Russian islands, to Misawa, Japan, and to Okinawa. It took us 3 days. Other trans-Pacific flights to Atsugi, Japan, were via Alameda and Barbara's Point, Hawaii, Kwajalein, and Agani, Guam. Well, upon return to the States, was a good reception. It meant an end to hostilities. Shortly after completion of the first deployment, authorized 30 days leave. We took advantage of this period to visit our relatives in St. Johnsbury, Vermont, and Niagara Falls in New York. On returning from the second deployment, we spent approximately 2 months training new crews. The old flight crews had completed 2 or more years in squadron, transferred to Fleet Air Service squadrons. We were tasked with the job of ferrying aircraft. One such flight was Prestwick, Scotland, to deliver a P-2V5 to the British. Another flight was to Atsugi, Japan, to replace a squadron aircraft that had crashed. During the period, I did participate in a search of a mission in southeast of Whitby, trying to locate a Navy plane that had flown into one of the mountains. On April 1st, 1953, I ferried the first B-2V6 to Whitby. At the completion of our tour at Whitby, we journeyed across the U.S. for the 4th time. On our way to Annapolis, Maryland, en route, we visited the Mount Rushmore National Memorial Center and the Badlands of South Dakota. They've had the training. I said, go serve your country.